PNG and UK trade strengthens. Trade war with Fiji could turn nasty.
We don't need Fiji to survive.
And cocoa board to showcase varieties in May.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thank you for joining me for Thursday's news. Papua New Guinea's Trade Minister Richard Maru has returned a happy man from his trip to the United Kingdom to attend the Commonwealth Trade Ministers meeting. At the meeting, PNG managed to secure assurance from the UK government that its exit from the European Union, also known as Brexit, will not affect trade relations between the two countries.
Minister Maru says what was concerning for PNG was the implications of Brexit on PNG's duty-free market access for its canned tuna and crude oil. The market access comes under the European Union Economic Partnership Agreement. This duty-free market access underpins PNG's fisheries industry, while New Britain Palm Oil has an oil refinery in Liverpool where crude oil is refined for other markets. These concerns were put to rest by Lord Price, the UK Minister for Trade and Investments, when he met with Minister Maru.
We are extremely happy as a country that the UK government has now confirmed they will sign an agreement with PNG, a UK and PNG Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, on the same terms as our current EU agreement. That will mean our fishing industry and our oil palm industry will not be affected in any way. They will continue to enjoy free market access, duty-free market access into the UK market, where there's a big market of 60 million people.
On top of that, exiting from the European Union means the UK can now make changes to the trade conditions. One of that is adding more trade goods to the list. For PNG, Minister Maru's priority is agriculture, and this trip saw strong developments made towards securing UK investment in the cocoa industry in PNG.
One of the companies that we are targeting is a UK company called Bean & Co. Bean & Co is a major cocoa producer in the world. They are based in the UK. When we were there, we went with them to meet the UK government, to encourage the UK government through the Import-Export Bank of the UK to give Bean & Co a loan of 70 million US, so that Bean & Co will use that money to start up a 2,500 hectare cocoa plantation in the Pacific Plains Special Economic Zone. After our presentation, I'm happy to announce that the loan was approved the same afternoon, and I think we've just received the term sheets.
While details of this loan is not available to the public as yet, these are exciting developments, as this is the first bilateral trade agreement between the UK and PNG currently enjoys a trade surplus with the UK. Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
The trade war with Fiji is about to heat up substantially if Trade Minister Richard Maru has his way. Maru says Papua New Guinea should cut all trade ties with Fiji because Fiji has been dishonorable. This follows Fiji's response to the oxen palm trade saga after conducting an import risk assessment in PNG. Minister Maru says it is an insult that will not be tolerated.
Minister Maru says there is a proposal before government for strong economic sanctions to be placed against Fiji after Fiji says only household quantities of PNG products can be brought into their country.
Now, this is a huge insult to Papua New Guinea, because a tin of oxen palm, if you're saying there's a health risk, it's as risky as a whole carton or a whole container. Fiji has never explained why they cannot accept commercial quantities. We were not interested in this risk assessment because we wanted to bring only household quantities. We wanted to export large volumes of rice, oxen palm, and biscuits into the Fiji market, because we know that.
He says PNG has wasted 15 years negotiating this deal, and the current move by Fiji shows they are not interested in a fair deal.
But Fiji certainly is determined to continue to prevent our products from going with no scientific hygiene or no reasons other than trying to protect the local industries. And frankly, my position is PNG should not waste time trading with Fiji. We don't export much to Fiji. We don't need Fiji to survive, and we should now cut trade ties with Fiji. And that's quite simple.
And the trade sanctions he is proposing will have regional implications.
PNG will not sign up to the new MSG trade agreement, MSG TA3. We will not submit to any agreement that Fiji is a part of, because we consider them to be very dishonorable people and nation. When it comes to trade agreements, they don't honor it.
In this trade war, Fiji may come out as the loser, as it currently exports around $100 million worth of goods to PNG, while PNG exports less than $5 million worth of goods to Fiji.
They will be the biggest losers as far as I'm concerned. We have nothing to lose. And we want to deal with them very comprehensively. And this government must deal with it now. We've started the war, let's deal with it.
But Maru says he doesn't see PNG and Fijian investments in each country being affected with these sanctions.
We have investments in Fiji. Fiji companies have investments in Papua New Guinea, and we have no issues with that. We are just talking purely the trading of goods.
Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
The national government has decided to invest 300 million kina on a 20% stake in a massive hotel project in Port Moresby. The Mineral Resource Development Company announced the government's investments in the Star Mountains Plaza project and welcomed the investment. But the opposition says the money would be better spent on service delivery. Bethany Harriman with this report.
Work continues on the construction of the 1.2 billion kina Star Mountain Plaza project site. This morning, major players in the project announced that the national government has bought a stake in the project. MRDC Managing Director Agustin Mano says the O'Neill Dion government has promised funding of 316 million kina.
BSP is financing 200 million. Government is putting 316, and the balance of it, the landowners, I would like to thank them to put more than 600 million.
The government will own 20%, while the remaining 80% will be split between the Bank of South Pacific and 3 landowner companies. It comes after opposition leader Don Pollier criticized the government for spending money on the project.
That what the government is doing does not benefit the people of this country. It benefits a few businesses and a few people. It only causes the people to become poorer and poorer and continues to add more stress and pressure on the already existing financial crisis, already a receding economy.
Landowner company Petroleum Kutubu Resources chairman Abraham Murupe and his directors have welcomed the national government's decision to be part of the project.
To know that this investment by the government, it's not a free money to us. It's government's commitment as an investment for the people of this country in this project.
The announcement of the government's involvement comes when the country's economy is struggling against falling commodity prices.
The hotel will be completed 2 months from the APEC summit in 2018. They say all is going as scheduled and the building will be completed by then. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News.
The Cocoa Board of Papua New Guinea will host a cocoa festival called the Cocoa Warwagira in Kokopo in May. The PNG Cocoa Regulatory Body hopes to bring together a variety of cocoa beans to be assessed and awarded. The inaugural festival will be a lead-up to the International Cocoa Excellence Show in Paris in October. Despite the cocoa port Bora incursion, the PNG Cocoa Board hopes to challenge negative perceptions about the industry. Edwin Fidelis reports from Kokopo.
The PNG Cocoa Board, the cocoa regulatory body in Papua New Guinea, will for the first time host a Cocoa Warwagira in May in Kokopo, a cocoa festival that will bring together cocoa farmers and producers from all over the country to display their produce,
one of the best.
Dr. Arnold Parapi, who is a member of the festival committee, says they want to highlight the significance of cocoa and how it's contributing to improving the lives of people who farm it.
As part of our show, we will be hosting this show in order to bring together producers, processors, and even chocolate manufacturers and grinders around the world, so that they will come together to appreciate what cocoa has to contribute to life with cocoa. Those who choose to take the path of growing cocoa, processing and marketing as a way of living.
The festival is one of the 3 big events listed in the cocoa calendar for this year.
From that, we will be selecting 5 samples, the best samples in Papua New Guinea, and we will give them awards here in this country as a recognition of the best practices, best quality cocoa. Those 5 samples will be entered into the International Cocoa of Excellence that will be held in Paris, France, come October.
Cocoa remains a highly prized commodity in Papua New Guinea. When gold, oil and gas prospects were at a minimal, the humble cocoa tree generated a significant amount of revenue for Papua New Guinea. But until recently, a combination of unstable cocoa price, the cocoa pod borer infestation and the coming of alternative cash crops have left the cocoa industry to compete with them.
Despite that, I think it's still worth the money for farmers to continue to produce. That's what we normally tell the farmers.
The PNG Cocoa Board hopes the festival will not only bring together cocoa farmers and producers, but to a larger extent, to remind them about the cocoa industry that although it is down, it is still not out. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
In the news ahead, drunk police officer hits 3 vehicles and 4 people who went missing at sea more than a week ago found. Those stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. A Port Moresby policeman has been arrested after the vehicle he was driving smashed into 3 other vehicles. The incident happened during the pouring rain last night at the Gordon's Police Barracks. The policeman involved is believed to have been under the influence of alcohol.
Owners of the vehicles involved in this accident woke up to the loud sound of the crash, but it was too late. 3 of the cars were already damaged.
Outside, just come outside to look at damages as well. And just fortunately, there was no one around at the time. Usually, all months are like by name boy and it's like something hang up. Just that time, they were not around. And it's like car come now. It was, we can estimate in speed was about 100 kilometers per hour.
Veronica Barum is the owner of this vehicle. She ordered it from Japan at a cost of 35,000 kina last December. Barum was very disappointed when she first saw the damages on a vehicle.
I was really sad because I don't have any money now. Buy more something or something. So, but accident I'm also. And the car was driven by a policeman. We have to establish if he owns the car. But and make him back him also car.
The police officer who caused the incident was picked up by traffic police at 2 a.m. today. He is expected to appear before the traffic court next week. Thakla Gunga, National EMTV News.
The principal of Kusbao Primary School and a senior standard officer from the Department of Education in Madang were involved in a fatal car accident yesterday. The 2 were returning from Kubugam on the north coast of Madang when they ran into the side of a semi-trailer truck parked on the opposite lane while trying to avoid an oncoming PMV. The incident occurred at around 1 p.m. yesterday. Help arrived 2 hours later when Buai buyers returning from Kubugam stopped to assess what happened. The Kusbao Primary School principal succumbed to his injuries whilst being transported to the hospital. 6 Southwest Pacific countries have gathered in Port Moresby to discuss how to improve the flow of goods, services and investment. The Southwest Pacific Dialogue met today for the second sub-regional workshop on connectivity development. Deputy Secretary Operations from the Department of Foreign Affairs, Alexis Maino, said the workshop provides the platform for experts to share experiences to see improved transportation and telecommunication infrastructure.
The Southwest Pacific Dialogue participating countries include PNG, Australia, New Zealand, Indonesia, Philippines and Timor-Leste. All countries except Timor-Leste attended the second sub-regional workshop on connectivity development. Standing in for Foreign Affairs Minister Rimbing Pato, Ambassador Maino said the workshop and the formation of the working group on connectivity development that will be established after the workshop is a way forward to cooperate on developing connectivity in the region.
The discussion on the need for more connectivity within the region started in 2011 when member countries acknowledged and envisaged the rate of connectivity as critical to achieve a more prosperous and integrated region.
Dr. Charles Yala, Director of the National Research Institute, said PNG faces a level of fragmentation that raises the cost of transportation, communication and service delivery as a whole. He suggested opening up the island of New Guinea for improvement.
The challenge for PNG after more than 40 decades of independence is to think and reshape the country's future growth trajectory. Consideration for effective connectivity, both internal and external, should become a part of this agenda. It is with this context that I proposed the idea of opening up the island of New Guinea through a network of roads and cities that strategically connects the island with the rest of the economies within the bloc and beyond.
Dr. Yala said PNG and Indonesia must collaborate strategically to ensure connectivity between both countries.
I proposed 3 major roads and 4 cities. The roads link north to south along the border between PNG and Indonesia and east to west, connecting an interland city along the border, connecting Leh to the east via Mount Hagen and west to West Papua end of Indonesia.
Of the 6 Southwest Pacific Dialogue member countries, 5 are members of the APEC economies. With connectivity as an important agenda in APEC, this workshop will provide the prelude to the upcoming APEC meeting in the Working Group on Transportation later in the year. Deli Waigeno, National, EMTV News.
Triumph Heritage Party, or the party, launched its website today in Port Moresby. Parliamentary Party leader and leader of opposition Don Pollier said the party believes in being transparent and connecting with the people. Mr. Pollier said PNG needs to progress its development with the use of technology.
Mr. Pollier was surrounded by fellow leaders, staff and supporters of the party at the launch of the party's new website. Mr. Pollier said the party believes in technology, expanding knowledge and allowing the public to interact with the party about its policies and quality of leadership.
We believe that we are a party that must be transparent. We are a party that must also give the people the opportunity to communicate with us and see what the party is doing.
Mr. Pollier said the features of the website include an interactive platform which will allow the public to express their views on any national issues. The party policies will also be made available on the website and include analysis of local and international events and issues.
Our website is www.theparty.org.pg. That is our website. And the features are the following. We will have firstly the online membership application by other individuals who can submit the forms online, and we can also have information available about individual members of membership in the Triumph Heritage Development parties.
Mr. Polya also announced that the party will have a fundraising dinner on the 28th of March 2017 at the Dynasty Restaurant at Vision City. The party's party convention will be held from the 5th to the 7th of April 2017 at the Granville Motel, where the finalized candidacy list will also be revealed. Delhi Waigeno, National MTV News.
The Electoral Commission says the media will play a big role in ensuring the coming national elections run smoothly and is as free and fair as possible. Deputy Electoral Commissioner Simon Sinai says every story consumed by the public will be crucial for the public to consume. He made the comments at a 3-day workshop for journalists.
Speaking to participants, Deputy Commissioner Simon Sinai says every story related to the 2017 national elections is important. He says imbalanced reporting will have an effect on the voting population.
And I strongly urge you all to play your role not only as source of news but also educators to educate voters about their right to make fully informed choices on polling day.
At the workshop, senior journalists shared their experience in covering past national elections. Also discussed in the workshop, use of social media is a possible threat if individuals from the public misreport election matters. Topics covered in the past 2 days include the counting process, election cycle, and the role of media.
But now, this training is good because we know how the process in place for the counting, how from the ballot boxes to the trays, and finally the scores goes up to the board, and it's good that we know the process.
And with only a month left before the issuing of writs, media houses say preparations have begun to cover the 9th national elections of the country. The workshop was supported by the PNG Electoral Commission with over 20 journalists from media houses around the country. Jack Lapave Jr., National MTV News.
4 of the 6 people who were reported missing at sea earlier this month were rescued by a Frabel fishing vessel on Tuesday this week. The survivors, 3 women and a man, were picked up at Frabel's dock by officers from Morbe Disaster Office and taken to Enga for medical examinations. 2 are still missing. Julie Badui Oa with this report.
These 4 passengers, Sarah Kutau, Jane Kutau, Caroline Mungin and Titus Tuan, were found alive on Tuesday by a fishing vessel that belongs to Frabel, a fish and cannery company in Lae. The 4 survivors were out at sea for 12 days before being rescued by the fishing vessel. The other 2 passengers, who are also brothers, Jimmy Makamet, the skipper, and Shane Makamet, are still missing. The survivors told MTV that they jumped off from the boat, but for what reason remains a mystery. The 6 had left Wewak for Manus on Thursday, March 2, and were expected to return the next day. They were carrying betel nut to Manus due to the high demand for the green nuts on the island. They were on their way back when the engine of the 23-foot banana boat, along with 2 40 HP outboard motors, cut off. The 4 were found and rescued and are now under the supervision of the Morbe Disaster Office in Lae. However, the 2 brothers, Jimmy and Shane Makamet, are still missing. The Disaster Office will make further arrangements into the search of the missing pair. Julie Badui Oa, National MTV News, Lae.
And now looking at our finance news, the kina closed unchanged at $0.3150 in the interbank markets. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3075, $0.3966 Australian dollars, $0.2844 euro, and 34.62 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold closed higher, while coffee, cocoa, and copra closed the day lower. Palm oil, crude oil, and copper closed the day higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 112.73 points higher. The ASX closed at 2.4 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 0.08 points lower. Stories making headlines overseas when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas, a British Royal Marine who shot dead a Taliban fighter in Afghanistan has won his appeal against his conviction for murder. Sergeant Alexander Blackman had his conviction reduced on the grounds of diminished responsibilities.
Claire Blackman's led this long but never lonely fight to have her husband's conviction overturned. Today she arrived at court hoping for good news. In 2013, a military court found Alexander Blackman, better known as Marine A, guilty of murdering a wounded Taliban insurgent in Afghanistan. But today, the appeal court concluded it wasn't murder.
We are delighted at the judge's decision to substitute manslaughter by diminished responsibility.
Walk out there and shoot the The incident in 2011 was all filmed on a helmet camera. This the moment when a helicopter opens fire on two Taliban insurgents, one of whom's wounded. We're not allowed to show what happens next when the patrol reach him. We can only play the audio as Blackman fires the fatal shot.
Yeah, shut off at mortal call. Obviously, this doesn't go anywhere, fellas. Yeah, roger, mate. I've just broken the convention. Yeah, roger.
But three leading psychiatrists told the court that tough tour had taken its toll on Blackman's mental health.
Clearly, what had happened to him during the time that he was in Afghanistan on that particular tour is his ability to think rationally and to exercise rational judgment.
The appeal court concluded that Alexander Blackman was suffering from an adjustment disorder when he killed that insurgent. Claire Blackman will still have to wait to be reunited with her husband. He's no longer a murderer, but he's still guilty of manslaughter. The court has to decide on that sentence, but the man known as Marine A could soon be freed from prison.
2 Russian spies have been charged in the US for allegedly hacking into 500 million Yahoo accounts. They hacked the accounts of both Russian and US government officials.
Massive hacking plot targeting hundreds of millions of U.S. citizens and foreign nationals, allegedly orchestrated here at the headquarters of the Russian Federal Security Service, the FSB, Russia's version of the FBI. These 2 Russian intelligence officers today accused of employing these notorious black market hackers in a new high-tech Cold War. The sinister planned to hack 500 million Yahoo users and then use their private information as a gateway to eventually spy on specific Russian adversaries here at home and abroad.
The defendants targeted Yahoo accounts of Russian and U.S. government officials, including cybersecurity, diplomatic, and military personnel.
And once the hackers stole the names, dates of birth, and passwords of Yahoo users, exposing them to potential identity theft, the espionage possibilities were extraordinary.
If the Russians can get a password of one person in an organization, then they can hack their way into that organization. And once they're in, they can spread laterally into all the files of a company or department.
Officials suspect stolen passwords were used by the Russians to hack the DNC and Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta.
The Russians have gone from stealing information and using it internally as traditional espionage to now stealing information and giving it to Julian Assange and posting it on WikiLeaks.
Something then candidate Trump at one point encouraged.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
American President Donald Trump has had his revised travel ban blocked. A U.S. federal judge in Hawaii put an emergency stop to the order, claiming it discriminated against Muslims.
The federal judge in Hawaii blocked the travel ban just hours before it was due to take effect, prompting a fiery response from the president, who's now vowing to take the fight to the Supreme Court. Late this afternoon, the federal judge issued the nationwide ruling, meaning citizens from the banned countries and refugees can continue to enter the United States. It happened just moments before the president took to the stage at a rally in Tennessee.
A judge has just blocked our executive order on travel and refugees coming into our country from certain countries. This ruling makes us look weak.
President Trump signed off on the revised ban after his first order was struck down by similar legal challenges. His administration took a month to rewrite the order. Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria and Yemen were included in the new document. Iraq was left off the list. It also removed a provision that gave priority to certain religions. President Trump today described it as a watered-down version, but Hawaii successfully argued against the ban today on the grounds of discrimination, saying it would affect tourism and the state's ability to hire foreign workers.
Discrimination on the basis of national origin or religion really cannot be tolerated.
A decision that set the stage for another showdown between Trump's administration and the judiciary.
Lae City dwellers go down to Auckland City in their OFC challenge. That story among others in Chukai Sports when we come back.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. Lae City dwellers lost 2-0 to competition favourites Auckland City in a tightly contested battle for the semi-final spot in Mangere in New Zealand. Dwellers held the defending champions Auckland City to an almost scoreless first half, but a 44th minute goal from Clayton Lewis would pave the way for the all-white striker to grab his second goal in next stanza.
And Lae City and their
Group C's top two contenders, Lae City dwellers and Auckland City, battle for 3-point lead on the table and a spot in the semi-final. Auckland City maintained possession for majority of the first half, but was unable to find the back of the net.
Still going, tried to offload it to Clayton Lewis on the right.
It wasn't until Clayton Lewis got behind Fabrizio Tavano's free kick and fired into the net.
Lewis, and he scores. Clayton Lewis. Auckland City from a set piece have opened the scoring.
In the second stanza, dwellers midfielder Troy Gunemba got his marching orders after committing fouls twice in a space of 2 minutes. The Navy Blues maintained ball possession, driving into dwellers' territory before Clayton Lewis fired his second past Warrison.
And Lewis, number 2 for Auckland City. It's 2 goals for Lewis, the all-white midfielder.
Down by 1 player, dwellers conceded yellow cards through Valentine Nelson and Peter Debinyaba Jr. That didn't help.
500,000 people as Belanga gets taken out, and this is a big concern for Auckland City. Their skipper in the wars again.
At full-time, dwellers coach Peter Gunemba was speechless after the heartbreaking loss, but was pleased with the strong challenge shown by his side.
Peter, great battle out there against defending champions. How are you feeling about the performance of your team?
Unlucky. What can I say? I'm pleased with the boys, especially our defense. It's superb. But you know, when you have less ball position, you know, it's very difficult for you to win the game.
The qualifier for the single spot in the semi-final will be determined by Lae City dwellers face Western United. Auckland City take on Malampa Revivers in the final day of action in Group C for the OFC Champions League at Mangere Park in Auckland on 18th March. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
The PNG Kumals will play the Cook Islands in this year's Pacific Test in May. England and Cook Islands will feature in this year's Pacific Rugby League Test program.
The Cook Islands have long waited to be included in the annual international showcase and will play PNG as part of the triple header at Campbelltown Sports Stadium on May 6th. The Pacific Test program has been running for 4 years, with the Kumals beating Fiji and Samoa, prevailing against Tonga in 2016.
Celebrating
defeat of Fiji 24-22.
For the first time, the 2017 edition of the Pacific Test will see the might of England clash with the brave of Samoa as part of an all-international rugby league triple header. The PNG Kumals will be preparing next month in a lead-up to the match on the 6th of May. Almost 12 players from the Cook Islands playing in the NRL will put up their hands to be part of the team. It will be a tough task ahead for the Kumals, but with last year's victory over the Fiji Batties, they will be looking forward to the match. The Pacific Test will also be used as trial matches in preparation for the Rugby League World Cup in October this year. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
East New Britain police personnel are undergoing weekly fitness training in preparation for their election operations. New Guinea Islands Assistant Police Commissioner Anton Billy says his men and women must be both physically and mentally fit to conduct the operations. ACP Billy says most of his officers are grossly fat and need to trim down their weight and remain fit at all times.
Most of the times you find police officers in blue uniforms and occasionally with guns and not in their sporting gears. But over the past 4 weeks in Kokopo, it was a little bit different. The New Guinea Islands Assistant Commissioner Police Anton Billy chose to include a timeout for his men and women to do fitness training during their official working hours.
The physical exercise for members is to basically prepare them for the elections.
A significant portion of East New Britain's police personnel go to Callabon Sport Oval every Wednesday afternoon to take part in a 3-hour fitness training. The head of the New Guinea Islands Police says his men and women need to be both mentally and physically fit, especially in a time where police will play a main role in providing security during the election period.
So in order to successfully stage this operation, we need our policemen to be physically fit. So we have started that by training our policemen with sports every Wednesday.
But that is not all. The head of the NGI Divisional Command says this will continue through even after the elections.
This division has started already 2 weeks ago, and this is the 3rd week that we are having sports this Wednesday.
While the election may be less than a month away, the police officers are racing up with time to get themselves into good shape, as their commander says they will need to work a little harder during the peak of the elections. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV Sports, Kokopo.
The Hebo PNG Barramundis will be touring the United Arab Emirates this month with a 14-man squad. The team will be led by skipper Asad Vala, who has just returned earlier this week from the DTC Hong Kong T20 Blitz.
The majority of the 14-man squad are Port Moresby based, except for Ched Soper, who plays in the Sydney First Grade Cricket for Gordon CC. Norman Vanua and Jack Vare are the only 2 inclusions to the Hebo PNG Barramundi squad that toured Sydney and Canberra last month, replacing Vagi Bokokora and PP Raho. Their fixtures include a number of T20 matches for the Intercontinental Cup and a couple of one-day internationals for the World Cricket League Championship. After a year-long absence from the national side due to injury, former captain Jack Vare will also make his comeback in this tour. The team will depart tomorrow for the United Arab Emirates. Dini Rose Raiko, National EMTV Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To international football, and in the UEFA Champions League, Monaco stunned Manchester City to reach the quarter-finals yesterday. Monaco were overturning a 2-goal first-leg deficit with a 3-1 victory in a pulsating clash to go through on away goals.
Leonardo Jardim's team started brightly, and with 18-year-old French prodigy Kylian Mbappe opening the scoring, turning in Silva's low cross from the left from close range after 8 minutes. City barely set foot in Monaco's half, and in the 29th minute, Fabinho fired home from Benjamin Mendy's inch-perfect centre. Monaco was suffering before City reduced the arrears in the 71st, when Sterling's shot was parried by Subasic into the path of Sané, who fired into the roof of the net. That put City in front on aggregate, but it was Monaco who turned the tie back in their favour 6 minutes later, when Timo Bakayoko headed home from a Thomas Lemar free kick. Monaco coach Leonardo Jardim said it was a perfect first half.
C'est une première mi-temps que notre objectif c'est clair. Si nous pensons en qualifier, je parle pour les joueurs. Si nous pensons qualifier, nous sommes fraîches au début du match. Nous va presser tout le terrain, qu'on ligne haute, il n'est pas laissé toucher le ballon. Et c'est ça qui s'est passé. Il n'est pas touché le ballon en première mi-temps. Après, deuxième mi-temps plus difficile, parce qu'il n'est pas une équipe pour le monde qui arrive à faire.
His counterpart, former Champions League winner Pep Guardiola, conceded it wasn't the English side's best performance.
Today we was not able, maybe because we have to live more experience than that, more experience to be consequent. Okay, it doesn't matter if we win or lose, but at least to be what we are. That is what I said many times. We have to finish the game being what we are, or what we have done from the beginning until today.
Monaco, who are without the injured Radamel Falcao, are the only French side left in the competition after Paris Saint-Germain were knocked out by Barcelona. Jeremy Moggy, National TV Sports.
Tonight's NRL blockbuster will see the Melbourne Storm go up against the Brisbane Broncos. The match will be played at Amy Park and kicks off at 7 p.m.
The Storms continue their impressive form to the season, coming off 2 wins, and will face tough rivals Broncos tonight. As for the Broncos, they kicked off their 2017 Telstra Premiership campaign with an impressive win over 2016 premiers, the Cronulla Sharks. This was a boost for the team before falling to Queensland rivals, the Cowboys, last week in what was a thriller. The Storms edged out Bulldogs 12-6 in round 1 and beat the New Zealand Warriors last week. Tonight's match will also see the return of fullback Billy Slater into the team. He makes his return after almost 12 months off the field, and many fans will have their eyes on him. For Slater, there's plenty of individual motivation to reclaim his place as one of the game's superstars, but he may also be the final piece for the Storm to avenge last year's grand final loss. Elijah Levitt, National EMTV Sports.
To tennis, Australian Nick Kyrgios stunned Novak Djokovic on Wednesday to secure his second victory over the world number 2 in less than 2 weeks. Kyrgios broke Djokovic in the opening game of the match en route to grabbing the first set. In the tiebreaker, he raced out to a 3-0 lead that was ultimately too much for Djokovic. Kyrgios will next face the winner of the clash between Australian Open champion Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal. Kyrgios will now advance to the quarterfinals of the BNP Paribas Open in Indian Wells. And that's a wrap for True Skies Sports. Up next, your weather details for the next 24 hours. Stay tuned.
True Skies Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Your weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region: evening showers and possible thunderstorms in Port Moresby, rain in Daru, a shower or two in Kerma, showers and possible thunderstorms in Alotau, and showers and thunderstorms in Popondetta. In the Mamasa region, cloudy with a shower or two in Lae, brief showers in Medang, and overcast with rain and thunderstorms in Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, brief thundery showers, some showers in Kavieng, Kokopo and Rabaul, brief showers in Kimbe, and few showers and thunderstorms in Buka. And in the Highlands region, rain with widespread morning fog developing in all centres. Forecast for small ships for the next 24 hours: Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru, to Kiwai Island to Kerema, to Yule Island to Hood Point, to Samarai Island with waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, with waters of Samarai Island to Cape Vogel, to Finschhafen with waters of Finschhafen through Vitia Strait, Sea Islands to Long Island, and with waters of New Ireland to New Britain and Bougainville, seas of 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of Long Island to Medang, to Bogia to Wewak, to Aitape to Vanimo, to northern PNG Indonesian border, and with waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas of 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Ocean forecast for PNG areas in the Coral Sea. Sea slight to moderate with northwest winds at 10 to 20 knots. In the Solomon Sea, sea slight with southeast to northeast winds at 10 to 15 knots. In the Bismarck Sea, sea slight to moderate with clockwise winds at 10 to 15 knots. And in the Pacific Ocean, sea slight with easterly winds at 10 to 15 knots.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, worth doing with Dulux.
Now recapping our main stories for tonight. PNG and UK trade strengthens. Trade war with Fiji could turn nasty. And cocoa board to showcase varieties in May. And that's the way it is this Thursday, 16th of March 2017. On behalf of the entire EMTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.